Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So over the past few months, there's been a lot of uproar about Disney's live-action remake of Little Mermaid. The dislike ratios on their first trailer and some of their latest uploads are starting to look like YouTube rewinds. The complaints largely center around the quality of the trailers and teasers and why this remake exists in the first place, but now the actress behind the role of Ariel has come forward to blame some of the related criticism on the color of her skin. So, in doing her part to set up the tired media defense that any criticism of the latest product is based solely on bigotry, Disney's live-action The Little Mermaid remake star Halle Bailey, not to be confused with Halle Berry, recently claimed that she found the backlash against the film's announcement to be expectedly racist. And here's a screenshot from one of the trailers. And I mean, even like this is probably the brightest scenery you're going to see out of any of the trailers, and it still just looks dull, in my opinion. And Bailey offered her latest thoughts on the discourse surrounding Disney's latest cash grab during an interview given with the fashion and style-centric magazine The Face. Now, I don't mean to be like a little brutal here, but this official magazine looks like a low-quality Tumblr post from 15 years ago. It's a lot of color and weird choices of fonts, but nonetheless. Reflecting on the public's noted and widespread rejection of The Little Mermaid's first teaser trailer, a response largely fueled by the terrible quality of the film's visuals and Disney's decision to once again play into identity politics by race-swapping one of their classic characters rather than the presence of a black person specifically, Bailey asserted, "I know people are like, it's not about race, but now that I'm her." So we're going to start by talking about this identity politics that is becoming more and more popular with Disney and other forms of media. Race swapping isn't something that is exclusive to Disney movies. We see it all the time with anime and things like that. And honestly, when it comes to this concept, people who cheer it on like it's the most brave and amazing thing ever to race swap characters are pretty cringe. Like, it's not brave to do this. But also people who throw tantrums over race swaps are also pretty annoying too. And here's my thing, like, you guys can feel free to disagree about this, but race swapping things, it really just isn't that deep. I just think if you're going to do something like this, it has to change the story in some sort of a way, right? Like, what is the appeal of the benefit of race swapping this character? Like, what new direction to the movie does this bring? And from the trailers, it doesn't seem like that's the case at all. And the criticism that is being launched at Disney for this has to do with scenery like this. It is so dark and lifeless, it's genuinely hard to see what's going on in the background. It is so dull and lifeless. For a kids movie, you would think of something vibrant and colorful, much like the other Little Mermaid films of the past. And the debate, like, whether this is a kids movie or not, it's clearly a kids movie. It's directed at children. And if it wasn't obvious already, all of the trailers have now turned to only for children, which means the comment section is automatically turned off by YouTube because now it's technically on the YouTube Kids app. So that not only tells us that it was originally intended for kids, but also that is their way of shielding criticism because the comment sections before they turned them off were absolutely brutal. And it's pretty unsurprising when the dislike ratios on those videos are so strong. So again, criticism largely has to do with the scenery, and anyone making racist comments are just that, they're racist. Like, that goes without saying. But following her brief trailing off as she searched for the right words to convey her point, the actress then added, "People don't understand that when you're black, there's this whole other community. It's so important for us to see ourselves," which is a really interesting concept, and it's not just exclusive to this film. We see it with anime all the time. People on Twitter making black edits of existing anime characters. They take them from pale-skinned to dark-skinned, and people say they do that to relate to them. And like I said with the race swapping, I don't think it's that deep unless it's made to, like, disparage the original version and say that they fixed it or something annoying like that, right? And of course, you can't deny the fact that now that a black woman is taking the lead of Ariel, there's going to be plenty of kids who are going to see themselves in this character. You can't deny that, right? But if you really want kids, in particular children of color, to see themselves in these films, why not make original characters and stories featuring people of color? Like, it's clearly, it works. Like, you think about Disney films like Encanto, and of course Black Panther, where you had people of color as the main focus of the film, and they were wildly successful. And it appealed not only to people who looked like the characters, but in general, because they were good stories. And this is kind of one of those moments where I like to bring out my trademarked phrase, the Goku Effect. Like, I don't care what ethnicity a child is, whether you're black, Hispanic, white, Asian, whatever, all kids enjoy the character Goku from Dragon Ball. Everyone relates to that character. They all look up to him, they all like him, and he is a pale-faced alien from fiction. And everyone can uniformly like him. Like, if there's ever going to be a day where racism is defeated, the main player is going to be Goku at this point. Like, that, I'm exaggerating, but it really is a real thing, because kids and adults as well like this character and relate to Goku because they like his character. It has nothing to do with the color of his skin. And that just goes to show you that all of this debate about race swapping, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I don't think it's the best and brightest avenue to have kids and people having a character they can relate to. I just really don't think it's that impactful one way or the other. And she goes on to say, as a black person, you just expect it, and it's not really a shock anymore, she said of the backlash. When my sister and I first signed to her record label Parkmore, Beyonce was always like, I never read my comments, don't ever read the comments. Honestly, when the teaser trailer came out, I was at the D23 Expo, and I was so happy. I didn't see any of the negativity. And of course, she's right in many sense. Don't read comments. Like, if I sat around every day spending all my time reading comments, I would be pretty depressed. I think anyone who has an online presence can agree with that. And the problem with that, though, is not reading the comments at all. You're not seeing the valid criticisms about the appearance of the film that has nothing to do with her character, because she could have done a fine performance, but a lot of the criticism would still stand. And one thing I want to make clear that I haven't addressed yet, I don't blame her at all for taking this role. It's obviously a huge break for an actress like this. I don't blame her, but that's not a shield for criticism. Just because she is a black woman taking this role, that is not a shield for criticism regarding her performance or the film as a whole. And she obviously, and she's already hinted at this, she knew it would come with some sort of backlash about her race. And that is to be expected. It doesn't make it okay, obviously, but she should not be surprised that's happening. And certainly not Disney, who is going to try to spin that to their own financial gain. And Disney is the one putting her in this position. She obviously accepted the role, but if they don't make the film good and they don't use her character in some sort of a productive way, it's gonna fall back a lot of the criticism on her, which is pretty unfortunate, because she can do the best performance in the world, right? And if the film is just a stinker, she's gonna get she's gonna be the face of the blame almost as much as Disney. And again, she's just an actor. She's gonna be doing what they tell her to do. So I don't think it's really fair to put all the blame on her. She's more the face of what Disney's trying to do here. And again, I don't blame a young actress for taking this role in the first place. It's like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be in a huge Disney film. So I don't blame her. But she goes on to say that she saw, contrary to saying that she never reads any of the comments, she saw a lot of comments saying that they saw themselves in her character, young black children who are seeing themselves in this character, and it that's a good thing. Like, let's not end this video on the most cynical thing. Like, that's a good thing. But I don't think you have to be that much of a pessimist to question the quality of this film based on the trailers and why Disney is doing this race swapping in the first place when it doesn't seem like it adds anything of substantial value to the story or incorporates it in a way that is nuanced in something fresh that makes it more than just a live action remake of something that has existed for decades. So that's going to do for this video. Like, feel free to disagree with my opinions on this stuff and express whatever you're thinking in the comment section. I know this is a very complicated issue, but yeah, feel free to share your comments. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you next time.